I died in the year I loved him the most, hundreds of millions in assets. He said he would leave it all behind and walk away, accompanying me to perish in the fire. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to 10 years ago. We just got married, and I hated him the most at that time. I went to his company, and when I saw him for the first time, I choked and said, "Jason Shah, I'm sorry." After a brief daze, he looked silent. "Speak up, what are you going to torment me with this time?" I remember that during the last explosion, Jason Shah did not come out. He knelt beside me, always neat and tidy, and said, "Olivia sang, don't be afraid, I'm here with you." That year he was 38 years old. He left behind hundreds of millions of assets without a second thought, accompanying me to the fiery grave. Midsummer evening, the setting sun outside the window looks like blood. The hot wind blows into the room. I wake up from my dream and sit on the bed, dazed. The clock in the corner ticks softly, and the calendar sits quietly on the desk. "Madam, Mr. Shah just called and said he won't be coming back tonight." Mama Liu's voice came from the living room, calm and peaceful. I looked down at the brand new wedding ring on my ring finger, closed my eyes. Surprisingly, I have returned to 10 years ago. The raging fire before death, and the warm, solid embrace, are so real. In the last moment, Jason Shah was still telling me, "Olivia Sang isn't afraid, I've waited too long for you in this life. In the next, I will find you early." Is this a dream or reality after all? I pinched myself, and a dull pain spread from my thigh. The sound of the train whistle outside the window woke me from my muddled thoughts. After the shock, a continuous wave of heartache and bitterness followed. A man-made misunderstanding caused me to hate Jason Shah for many years. During this time, his competitors used every means to suppress him, making it hard for him to breathe. At home, my cold attitude towards him. "So he doesn't always come home." Jason Shah's parents passed away early, and he had no other relatives. He guarded a business empire alone, living a small half of his life. Later, the misunderstanding was cleared up. We had a happy time for half a year, and even had a child. I just didn't have time to tell him the news of the pregnancy before he died unexpectedly. "Madam, the flowers have been delivered. Are you leaving now?" Mother Liu came in to ask me. "What?" My thoughts are still in a state of confusion. "Miss Hua, aren't you going to see Mr. Song Yang?" Suddenly hearing this name, I froze. A tangled mess suddenly had a thread. It was on this day. Song Yang is my childhood sweetheart. He is also a very talented actor. Unfortunately, an accident. He was severely burned all over his body and needs to stay in the hospital for a long time. On this day in my past life, I went to the hospital holding a bouquet of flowers. After celebrating Song Yang's birthday and leaving the hospital, I saw Jason Shah sitting in the car, the tip of his cigarette burning to the end, but he was completely unaware. I don't want to explain anything, nor do I want to see him. "Olivia," Jason Shah discovered me, extinguished the cigarette, got out of the car, with a lonely tone. "Today is my birthday." I stopped, turned around coldly to look at him. "So," Jason Shah's dark eyes looked at me silently. I said, "Today is also Song Yang's birthday. To marry me, you resorted to any means, ruined his face, and cut off his future. What more do you want me to do for you?" Jason Shah opened his mouth, futilely saying, "It was just an accident. If you hadn't invited him that day, he wouldn't be lying in the hospital now." How am I supposed to believe that it was an accident? Jason Shah fell silent, and finally, he said to me, "I'm sorry." From that day on, my relationship with Jason Shah took a sharp turn for the worse. It started a long and torturous Cold War. Later, I realized that the accident that even Jason Shah thought it was just a conspiracy by certain people to sow discord between me and him. "The stuff has already been placed in the car for you. If we leave later, there will be traffic jams." Mama Liu called me back. Outside the window, the sunset is halfway down, and the light is dim. I came to my senses, nervously put on my coat, and sat into the car, because I suddenly realized that it was 10 years ago, and there was still time. The driver merged into the traffic flow. "The road to the hospital is already blocked. Would you like to call Mr. Song and ask him to wait?" Not going to the hospital. I looked out the window at the constantly changing traffic lights and changed my mind. Go to the company. Actually, I don't have much impression of Jason Shah's company. When I was young, I disliked him and never attended. Later, I loved him, but then he was targeted by enemies, and danger surrounded him, so I didn't dare to find him. Up to this moment, I stand under the towering office buildings, feeling somewhat confused. Which building is his office building after all? The passers-by coming and going curiously looked me over, holding a huge bouquet, dressed elegantly, wearing makeup, like a girl ready to confess. Uncomfortably, I took out my phone and dialed Jason Shah's number, his full name, 3 characters. Neither of them is an emergency contact. I pressed the phone, thinking I would have to wait for a long time, but after just 2 short rings, it was answered. A cold, distant voice came from the receiver. "What's the matter?" Hearing his voice again, my eyes suddenly became a little hot, and my voice choked up unconsciously. "Jason Shah, where is your office? I can't find it." The passers-by looked at me even more strangely. A woman who couldn't find her husband's office stood on the curb, wailing loudly. Jason Shah's side seems to be in a meeting. He paused slightly and said, "Let's stop here for today." Then he said to me, "Stand on the sidewalk, I'll go down." A few minutes later, Jason Shah walked out of the office building. The tall figure cut through the neon lights, dressed in a suit and tie, exuding an air of elegance and composure. Looking at myself in the mirror, my eyeliner smudged down with my tears, like the leading actress in Orphan. "Damn, it's all ruined. How did you get here?" The tone was very calm, almost cold. I turned my head. The tall and handsome man was looking at me coldly, his pupils reflecting my scribbled face, with a slight stiffness in his expression. "No matter when, Jason Shah is always proper and perfect, like a flower blooming on a cliff. Spotless." "Sorry." I lowered my head, afraid to look at him. "Sorry to bother you." Today, he only said 2 words and didn't continue. I know what he wants to say. Today I should be celebrating Song Yang's birthday, not here. That did remind me. I shoved the flowers into his arms and mumbled, "Happy birthday." Long silence. I secretly looked at him and found that he was staring at the bouquet of flowers, but he didn't look very happy. After a long time, he raised a bitter sarcastic smile. "Olivia sang. Is she the one he didn't want?" "Right." "What?" I realized his mood was off, and my gaze suddenly fell on the bouquet, a sinking feeling in my heart. "Oh no." Crushed ice blue rose. The language of flowers is, "I send you the stars and the sea." Song Yang's favorite thing is also the stars and the sea. When I wake up, my memories are too chaotic. I only want to find Jason Shah, and I overlook these details. "Sorry." Thank you for the birthday gift." Jason Shah's tone was almost stiff. "It's getting late. Let the driver take you home." He turned and left. I quickly grabbed the hem of his clothes. Wait, Jason Shah didn't expect me to make this move either. I lost my footing, was pulled forward, and hit him hard on the back. The back of the haute couture suit was decorated with colorful flowers. Jason Shah turned around, stared at my finger, and was silent for a long time. I hesitated, stubbornly saying, "Jason Shah, I won't go back." He looked silent. "Olivia sang. How are you going to torment me this time?" That question is really hard to answer. In my memory, at this time, Jason Shah and I had just gotten married, and I was having a disagreement with him. I am 23, he is 28. Arguing is almost entirely me expressing myself unilaterally. Say whatever harsh words come to mind, even when giving him a gift for the holiday, it's all to stab him in the heart. I am like a shepherd boy, after shouting "wolf" too many times. He no longer believes me. Thinking back to past misunderstandings, my methods were quite direct and crude. Just knocking him down was enough. This man looks aloof, but surprisingly easy to coax. But this method may not work well at the moment. Moreover, Jason Shah has suffered too much torment and grievance. And I also want to make up for something. After thinking it over, I said, "I'll treat you to a meal." Jason Shah lowered his eyes and said coldly, "No need, I have work tonight." Then order takeout. I shamelessly followed behind him. "I'll order you a longevity noodle." Jason Shah didn't speak, not even bothering to acknowledge me. That bouquet of flowers was still tightly clenched in his hand. Passing by a trash can, I thought he would throw it in without hesitation, but he didn't. Following all the way, we entered his office, empty and deserted. A cold lunchbox was thrown on the desk. Haven't started using chopsticks yet. Is he planning to deal with it this way tonight? A sudden feeling of heartache came over me. I opened my phone and ordered a longevity noodle for him. Clear broth, less salt, no scallions. The side dishes include tomato beef brisket and a few vegetarian dishes, all non-spicy. In the past, Jason Shah ordered very heavy and spicy dishes to accommodate me. It wasn't until later that I found out he has a sensitive stomach and can't eat anything too spicy, greasy, or salty. After ordering, I sat on the sofa, not knowing what to say. It seems that no matter what is said, it's not very good. Jason Sher is unwrapping the flowers packaging bag, planning to put it in the vase. The shattered ice blue rose stung my eyes. Without thinking, I walked over, snatched it away, and threw it into the trash can. He was stunned, looking at the blood bead that had been pricked from his thumb, and sighed tiredly. Olivia sang, "Have you had enough trouble?" No, I endured the frustration in my heart, angry at why he was like a mud doll. With no temper, "No more, if you don't like it, I'll buy you something else." Jason Shah took out a tissue, pressed it against the wound, and his eyes slightly lowered as he gave up and said, "Forget it." I ignored him, picked up the trash, and left a sentence, "Wait here for me." Then I hurried out. On summer evenings, the roadside was filled with flower vendors. It's just that compared to the flower bouquets in the flower shop, which cost hundreds or thousands, the quality is a bit worse. I went to several stalls, bought all the red roses, and simply bundled them with plain wrapping paper. The takeout just arrived, and I carried it all upstairs in large and small bags. The 19th floor is even colder and more desolate than when I just arrived. Only a few employees who rarely work overtime have left. Only Jason Shah's office has a small lamp turned on. I tiptoed quietly and pushed the door open. He was facing away from me, standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, with a lonely silhouette. This feeling is like being a stray dog abandoned by someone. The heavy bouquet and takeout hit the door with a bang. Jason Shah's back stiffened, and he suddenly turned around, seeing me almost overwhelmed. "Hey, what are you standing there for? Give me a hand," I pantingly said. He didn't seem to expect me to come back. After a brief moment of surprise, he quickly walked over, one hand taking the bouquet and takeout, while the other arm went around my armpit and rested on the sofa. I took a deep breath, my forehead sweating, but I still smiled and said, "This is for you. I bought all the roses on the street." A brief moment of blankness appeared on Jason Shah's handsome face. "It's over, now." He seems to have a hard time adjusting to the way I treat him. Do I really have to insult him? When I saw him still planning to go back and eat his cold lunchbox, I let out a sigh. Jason Shah instantly looked over, and I caught a flash of nervousness in his eyes. I leaned back on the sofa, chin raised, and said impatiently, "Can't you just eat something hot? Watching you eat your lunchbox annoys me." Jason Shah. The next half hour, my complaints kept ringing out in the office. "Aren't you going to eat? Can't you see such a big piece of beef? Don't you eat vegetables? Are you still picky at your age? You're eating noodles, right? Did I buy them for you to just look at?" After my painstaking encouragement, a bowl of hot noodles was finished. I was afraid Jason Shah wouldn't have enough to eat, so I added 2 small flour rolls and also gave him the Osman Thus cake I had brought for myself. "Are you always advising me like this? Am I even alive anymore?" I was so thirsty I was talking until my mouth was dry. Suddenly, a glass of water was handed to me. I looked up and saw Jason Shah staring at me. "Take a sip to soothe your throat before you start scolding." His expression softened a lot, although his eyes were still dull and lifeless, but at least, there was no longer the cold wariness. I restrained the urge to hug him and said, "Jason Shah, from now on, let's live a good life." Hearing this, he averted his gaze, silently cleaned up the dishes, and did not directly answer my question. "Get dressed, I'll have the driver take you home." But I just arrived. He quickly pushed the door open and went out, more like fleeing from something. After all, collecting trash is not something that requires a CEO to do. It's fake to say I'm not disappointed. Reborn again. Why does it feel like this man is even more difficult to coax now? I sit on the sofa, planning the next move. Should I just pounce directly, or confess my feelings first and then pounce? A sudden ringtone interrupted my thoughts. I absent-mindedly answered the phone. On the other end of the line was a distant yet familiar voice. "Olivia, where are you?" My originally joyful mood suddenly sank to the bottom of the valley. Remembering that there was still such a person. "It's you." My tone isn't particularly eager. Song Yang's voice is gentle. "I've been waiting for you for a long time. Didn't we agree to celebrate our birthdays together?" Recalling everything that happened in the previous life, I clenched my fingers bit by bit until my knuckles turned white. "Song Yang, we are childhood friends who grew up together, right?" Song Yang noticed my discomfort and corrected me. "Olivia, we are family. I repeated the two words, family, and suddenly asked, is there anything you want to tell me? He paused, sighed, and said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have secretly eaten the cake without telling you. Look. Why can the person who is cared for deceive, make demands, and joke without restraint, and Jason Shah has to always stand behind, bearing everything? I was ice cold, unable to even smile. I have something to do today, so I won't be coming. Happy birthday. Hanging up the phone, I took a deep breath, feeling suffocated. I think back to the call Song Yang made to me before being kidnapped, asking where I was. I fell into deep thought. He is the person I trust the most. But what if from the very beginning, that explosion was caused by an acquaintance? I looked up and saw Jason Shah standing at the door, his profile hidden in the shadows, his expression unclear. I hesitated for a long time and asked, did you hear everything? Yes, let's go. His tone carried a calmness that was carefully suppressed. The car is downstairs. I opened my mouth but didn't know how to explain what would happen in the future. Afraid he would think I was crazy, I followed him. Walking out the door, guilt surging within me. Jason Shah, he just slowed down a bit, but didn't look back. It was Song Yang who called me just now. I spoke quickly. I did promise to help him celebrate his birthday yesterday, but I'm different today. I'm from the future. Jason Shah suddenly stopped, turned around. His eyes cold. Enough. He closed his eyes, calmed his emotions, and said, the meal today was very delicious, and I'm also glad you could celebrate my birthday with me. I stared at him closely, seeing the pain deeply buried in his eyes. Jason Shah's lips are very pale, and each word is like someone in extreme pain, trembling as they speak. So in the end, you want to find Song Yang. I agree, because this is the price. In a past life, Jason Shah once told me that every time I gave him a little kindness, he would exchange it for more pain. So he never dared to ask for anything, and was prepared for me to leave at any moment. This passage, now like a knife, stabbing into my heart, it makes me hurt. On this day in a past life, when I was not around, his dinner was a cold, leftover box lunch. No one said happy birthday to him, so he went to the hospital entrance to wait for me. Right, Jason Shah just wanted to hear me say happy birthday, but I told him not to meddle, to stay as far away from me as possible. The overdue truth is suffocating me. He looked away. Sorry, I misspoke. It's unsafe after dark, so if you need to go to the hospital, do it quickly. I suddenly grabbed Jason Shah's hand firmly, assertively, and with a bit of overstepping, interlocking fingers with him. He froze all over but didn't pull away. Instead, he asked in a hoarse voice, Olivia sang, what do you want to do? Are you still trying to embarrass me more? I looked up and suddenly grabbed his tie, pulling it down. Husband, don't move, just 4 characters, like a seal, completely imprisoning him. I tiptoed and kissed Jason Shah's cold lips. The elegant scent of pine wood was chaotically and indiscriminately overwhelmed by me. I wrapped my arms around his neck, pushed him gently against the wall, and carefully comforted him. He went from stiffness at the beginning, to shock, and finally to surrender, closing his eyes in defeat, allowing me to humiliate and insult him. The spotless shirt turned into a crumpled mess. He unconsciously wrapped his arms around my waist, gradually tightening, until greedily pressing his back against mine, making us cling tightly together. The light above flickered on and off, and finally, we separated in the darkness, panting against each other. Olivia, Jason Shah's tone was low and difficult. Don't do this. You don't like it. No. He was silent for a long time before saying, don't tempt me, while I still have my senses, to go find him. Are you willing? I gently blew a breath in his ear, looking aggrieved, not jealous, not angry, willing for me to kiss someone else. Jason Shah seemed to be stimulated, suddenly lowered his head, blocked my mouth, took the initiative, and threw me back onto the sofa. Before I could react, a big hand grabbed the back of my head, and he kissed me again in a fit of anger. I curled the corner of my mouth. If I didn't use a strong medicine, he could endure it. Just the subsequent development was a bit beyond my control. Jason Shah, I suddenly became alert. What are you doing? I mean, let's go home first. His voice was mellow. I gave you a chance, but you didn't leave. Now, the opportunity is gone. My words fell, and I was dropped on the back of the sofa. A soft, seductive male voice drifted into my ears from behind. Olivia sang, you're dead. I thought that, given Jason Shah's personality, he wouldn't do anything too out of line, But I forgot, in his previous life, he was a madman willing to die for love. There is a bit of wildness deep down inside. You. My weak and pleading voice was drowned out between my lips and teeth, and in the end, I could only helplessly wrap my arms around his neck and shout, "Jason Shah, please feel sorry for me. He seems to be angry and didn't listen to what I said." I clenched my teeth and held him tightly, my nose souring, tears falling onto his shoulder. Jason Shah froze completely, carefully stopping. "Sorry." I rested my chin on his shoulder, looking up to see the bright moonlight outside the window. "Jason Shah. I have already thought of the name for my child. I thought about my past life for a long time, but I never told him." "Olivia, don't say it." His voice was hoarse, whispering softly, "Don't you believe it?" The response I received was endless silence. "He probably doesn't dare to hope that we can have a child." I said, "One boy, one girl, and I'll leave the nickname to you." Little did they know, the person who had just regained their composure had fallen back into the out-of-control trap. Jason Shah didn't give me a chance to speak again, and he walked into a small door on the side of the office with me, who had lost half of my soul. The door gently closes, the wind wanders outside the floor-to-ceiling window. The moonlight is clear and bright, just a door apart. There are whispering words. In the middle of the night, I got a little temper and kicked him, saying I didn't want him anymore. Jason Shah silently pulled me back and asked, "If you don't want me, who do you want?" He asked very seriously. I blush all over. "Anyway, I don't want you." He mumbled. "What you say doesn't count." That night in the dream, there was Jason Shah's entanglement, and also a sky full of flames. I was lying in a pool of blood, with bombs strapped all over my body. Jason Shah rushed into the fire, picked me up, and was trembling all over. I saw him crying, and could only weakly raise my hand to push him away. "Get lost, Jason Shah. I told you to get lost. Don't touch me, please." The dream shattered into pieces by the sound of crying. The warm touch dissipated in an instant. I fell back into the darkness, my eyes snapping open, my cheeks wet and warm. I had a dream. Coming to my senses, I realized Jason Shah had been pushed to the edge of the bed by me. From his expression, I could tell I was talking in my sleep. He handed me a tissue but remained sitting at a distance from me. Even my fingertips avoided touching me. My heart sank. He still misunderstood. "Jason Shah," I tried to speak. "I just had a dream." He was really listening to me seriously. I spoke with a crying tone. "I'm in a fire, tied with explosives on my body. You have to die with me, so." That's why I said that sentence. Don't misunderstand. Jason Shah's eyes only lit up briefly, as if he had figured something out, and then returned to lifelessness. "Okay, I believe you." After saying that, he tucked me in, picked up the pillow, and walked out. "Jason Shah," I called out to him, speaking to his back, "You're lying." He didn't say anything. I grabbed a pillow and slammed it hard on his back. "Fine, you can go. I'm exhausted and sore all over. You, a traitor who turns his back on me, can just leave me here to fend for myself." After saying that, I didn't look at him. I turned my back, curled up like a shrimp, and crawled into the quilt. No wonder everyone says young people are stubborn. Jason Shah, who is 10 years younger, is stubborn and unreasonable, not at all adorable. After a long silence, the bed behind sank down, and Jason Shah sighed. "Sleep, hold me while sleeping." He obediently pulled me over and wrapped me in his arms. The night is still long, but I stare at the borderless night sky, with no sleepiness. Since rebirth, so much information has been swirling in my mind. The person who kidnapped me once had dealings with Jason Shah. He is a boss whose company went bankrupt. The accident that happened to Song Yang that year was actually my second uncle's scheme to sow discord between me and Jason Shah. These are the things I knew during the last year of my previous life. My whereabouts have always been well protected by Jason Shah. But I was kidnapped on my way to the hospital for a checkup. Where did the other party find out from? The only possibility is the call that Song Yang made to me. Even in the last moment before death, Jason Shah once said, "Thank you, Song Yang. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to find you." The bystander is confused. Looking back now, the person I trust the most, my childhood sweetheart who has been with me for over 10 years, Song Yang, what role did he actually play in all of this? I had insomnia last night, and I felt like my head was going to explode the next morning. "Jason Shah, I can't get up. There's no way you are like this." He kicked me a few times, helplessly saying, "Get up and have breakfast." "No, That's really going overboard with principles. I was annoyed and said, "You don't like your younger self at all." He paused for a moment and asked back in a good-tempered way, "My younger self, exactly." I snapped and pulled the blanket out of his hand, wrapping it around myself. "I prefer being 10 years older. You go be old. Don't disturb my sleep." I wriggled to the warmest spot, comfortably stretched my limbs, feeling the scent of Jason Shah all over my body. I went back to sleep and woke up in the afternoon. Obviously, he thought I might have woken up hungry, and lunch was neatly arranged on the table. The room was extremely tidy, everything was in perfect order, and my big bed is a separate world opened within order. It's a mess. Because I was fooling around last night, the bedsheet was torn into strips, and everything was thrown onto Jason Shah. To say it outright, 28-year-old Jason Shah is simply pure compared to 38-year-old Jason Shah. I shook my head and tried to shake away the images of blushing and pounding hearts from my mind. After a simple wash-up, I ate breakfast, took out Jason Shah's shirt to wrap myself in, and peeked out the door. The office was very quiet. The computer was on a video conference. The sunset is slanting, and the gentle glow shines through the floor-to-ceiling window, falling on Jason Shah dressed in a suit. It well neutralizes the innate coldness and detachment in him. My heart trembled, unconsciously. My ears turned red. Jason Shah's insight has always been sharp. Almost as soon as I open the door, he looks up, seeing my outfit. He suddenly froze. I awkwardly coughed a few times, confirming that no one was around, then blushed and walked out, sitting across from Jason Shah. I opened my phone and found that Song Yang had called me 5 times and sent more than 10 messages. It's all late at night. At that time, I should have already been in a daze, but I wasn't awakened by the ringing. Could it be? I stared at Jason Shah thoughtfully. He was focused, seemingly unaware of my presence. Just pretend. I crossed my legs and swung them in his peripheral vision, not caring whether I was exposing myself. Jason Shah's voice suddenly faltered, and after a brief pause, he said, "That's all for today." After speaking, the meeting was over. He gently leaned back in the boss's chair, frowning. Olivia sang. "Oh, you called Olivia last night, and now it's Olivia sang. Look at that self-righteous, eating everything up and refusing to admit it. Not knowing that people might really think he's a very proper person." I nudged his calf hidden under the table. "Mr. Shah, did my phone ring last night?" Jason Shah calmly lowered his eyes. "Not really sure, really." I crossed over the desk, grabbing his tie and pulling him closer. "Even if he conceals it well, to me, he's just a young man." Olivia sang. "This is work time." He reminded me seriously. If it weren't for his slightly disordered breathing, I would really think he was indifferent. "Oh." I gently kissed him. "Want more?" He was silent for a moment, then straightforwardly said, "Yes, I kissed you again. I'm next door, waiting for you after work. Let's go home together." After returning to the room, I received another call from Song Yang. "Olivia, I have been discharged," over the phone. The voice was hoarse, with a heavy nasal tone, as if he hadn't slept well all night. I was stunned. "How did you get out of the hospital?" "I'm not going to get treatment," he said dejectedly. "If it can't be fixed, I choose to give up. I want to live a peaceful life with you." I frowned. "It's already impossible between us. And besides, I'm married." "Then what should I do?" Song Yang said. "What do you think of our promise? Is it because my face is ruined that you don't like me anymore?" I wanted to speak but hesitated. "You said that only by breaking up could the company support you, and you could go further. But you promised to wait for me. Then how long do I have to wait?" I sighed. "You clearly had countless chances, yet you kept making me wait." My second uncle is someone who stops at nothing to achieve his goals. After my parents were born, they abandoned me at the Sang family and moved abroad to start new families. I am just a pawn in the Sang family. While Song Yang was earning great acclaim on the big screen, I had already been forced into a corner by my second uncle. That night, I called him all evening, but he hung up. The next day, I watched his screen's first kiss, and reluctantly accepted Uncle Second's proposal. At this moment, Song Yang asked me on the phone, "Do you like him?" I had no hesitation. "I love him." In the following days, Song Yang never sent me a message again. I thought a lot. To find the murderer who harmed me in my past life, I need to rely on Jason Shah's help. The first step is to make him accept the fact that I have been reborn. To prevent him from sending me to a mental hospital, This legitimate daughter, after rebirth, started investigating the murderer who caused her family's downfall in her previous life. Having an information advantage is a very good thing. Aren't you curious about how she turned the tables later? I propped my arms up and leaned in front of Jason Schur, speaking passionately. This is already the third rebirth novel I've read for him this month. Jason Schur listened carefully. If you like, I can invest and turn it into a TV series. It's not that I like it, the point is whether you like it or not. He looked at the wrinkled shirt I was wearing and sighed. If you like it, I like it, I persisted, clenching my fist as if it were a microphone. Then tell me your thoughts, Jason Schur. Recently, our interactions have become much smoother. He is extremely accommodating, almost to the point of indulging me. But there's always something that feels like it's in the way, Jason Schur. I pulled my stool closer, sitting in front of him with a serious expression. I think it's time I told you. He put down his chopsticks and assumed a listen attentively posture. You speak. I spoke with a deep sense of hatred. Actually, I am also reborn. Silence. Long silence. Jason Schur raised his eyebrows slightly. His lips pressed tightly together. He wants to laugh. I pointed at him. Oh, you really don't believe it. Continue, Olivia. He smirked, then forcibly suppressed it again. I believe. I might as well go all out and tell everything that happened in my past life. At first, he listened as if hearing a story to a child. I thought it was a new trick I learned. Gradually, he furrowed his brows. I know I was right. The person who stabbed me, surnamed Fang, should be an employee of your company. He later went independent. Of course, that was 10 years ago, and I don't know where he is now. Also, my second uncle was involved. Lastly, pay attention to song. The words were not finished before being interrupted by a shrill ringing sound. Jason Schur and I both saw the name displayed on the phone screen. Iron. Due to my negligence, Song Yang's note has not been changed to his full name. Jason Schur's expression darkened, then he returned to a cold attitude, stood up, picked up the plate. I'm going to wash the dishes. That feeling is coming again. It's deliberate avoidance. He's still afraid. I grit my teeth, grab my phone, and follow him to the kitchen. He turned his back to the door and turned on the faucet. I pressed the hands-free button. Song Yang's familiar voice came from the speaker. Olivia, maybe this is the last time I call you. Besides human voices, there is also the whistling sound of the wind. I immediately became nervous. Where are you? The rooftop of the high school teaching building. His voice was very soft. Olivia, do you remember? The day my parents left, you said that the Sang family didn't truly care for you. Maybe we can be family in the future. At 18, I wanted to jump off the rooftop, but you stopped me. His voice was very soft, with a hint of regret. Now, you don't want me anymore. I feel there's no point in living. Song Yang, don't be impulsive. My mind buzzed. I turned around and grabbed my clothes, putting them on. Wait for me. I'll be right there. I hung up the phone, turned my head, and found Jason Schur still with his back to me, standing by the sink. He seemed to hear nothing. Only the sound of water rushing. I got anxious, rushed in. Hey, are you crazy? Why aren't you changing clothes? He was pulled by me, staggering, with dull eyes staring at me. Change clothes? I can do it myself. I'm already married. I irritably took out my phone, speaking quickly. Jason Schur, I give you 10 seconds to take off the apron. I'm calling the police right now. He's crazy. The kids haven't finished their evening self-study, and he jumped down in front of people. What's going on? Done. Jason Schur was standing neatly at the door. I was stunned. You're pretty quick. Fortunately, Jason Schur can drive, which saved the trouble of waiting for a driver. The police have already arrived at the scene, and informed me not to have any more calls with Song Yang, with this glimmer of hope. He won't do anything dangerous for the time being, and this time is just enough to evacuate the students from the school. Jason Schur drove the car as fast as possible within a safe range. We arrived at the scene very quickly. On the rooftop, the wind is very strong. The heat cannot be blown away, the campus is eerily silent, and the police are about 5 meters away from Song Yang. Not daring to approach, I was dragged to the rooftop by the police. Miss, he insists on seeing you. Please buy us some time. The rescue team will be here soon. I glanced at Jason Schur, who was stopped outside the police line, and he nodded at me. I took a deep breath, climbed up the steps, and called out. Song Yang. The figure sitting on the edge of the rooftop moved and turned around, the exposed side face of Zhong being burned. Olivia, You're here. Looking at him, I was momentarily dazed. It seems I haven't seen him for a long time. After resolving the misunderstanding with Jason Shur in a past life, we have visited him several times, but Song Yang was very resistant. It's probably someone who has hated for many years, and one day suddenly realizes that the culprit is not him, making it very difficult to let go of the hatred. Plus, later on, Jason Shur was besieged from all sides, and the situation became tense. I stayed at home and didn't dare to go out. Combining past and present lives, we haven't seen each other for over a year. Song Yang, can you come down first, please? Song Yang ignored me and just looked at me. Sorry. His gaze looked towards the crowd outside, waiting for my Jason Shur, and said, You're right, I was too impulsive. You told me before we got married that we would only be family from now on. I was too greedy. I remember the days when Song Yang and I supported each other and managed to get through, when I was bullied by a thug. It was him who protected me and took the beating for me. My second uncle kicked me out, but he braved the heavy rain overnight to send me an umbrella and take me home. For a moment, I was actually a bit shaken. Could he really be the murderer who killed me? Song Yang smiled. You promised to spend every birthday with me. Sing me a birthday song, and I'll come down. Okay, I'll sing. The wind gradually subsided, and the birthday song gently drifted through the night on the rooftop. But while singing this song, I suddenly thought that I didn't sing for Jason Shur that day, so I went back to make it up to him. The song ended, and Song Yang stood up from the rooftop, facing me. Thank you. I haven't heard you sing in many years. Very good. I want to ask you one more question. His voice was very soft. You ask, do you still love me? I was silent for a long time before I said, You are my family. It was from the moment he stood on the stage. Song Yang's deep eyes looked into the crowd, as if making eye contact with Jason Shur. The wind on the rooftop made me feel a bit cold, and I said, Let's go back. Okay, Song Yang, Olivia. After saying that, he spread his arms and fell backwards into the endless night. At that moment, time seemed to stand still. My blood froze into ice, and the next moment I lunged toward the rooftop, Song Yang. But I lunged into empty space. The dark ground was like a giant beast gaping maw. Song Yang disappeared into the abyss like that. I stared blankly at the dark ground, my mind completely empty. I seemed to hear a dull thud. My legs went weak, and I knelt down. Song Yang. Did he really die just like that? Did I wrongfully accuse him? People are said to be perceptive. I have known him for so many years. And Song Yang sensed my distance from him, so he chose to end his life. Does that mean I caused his death? I feel cold all over, sitting there blankly, unable to stop trembling. Suddenly, I fell into a warm embrace, the familiar smell at this moment, like a lifesaver. I tightly hold Jason Shur's sleeve and say, I caused his death. He holds me. I'm here. Don't be afraid. I don't know what to do. I start crying, holding Jason Shur, incoherent. I'm sorry. He touches my hair. He's not dead. Don't cry. He leans against my ear, softly whispering. The police are downstairs with an inflatable bed. They caught him. I closed my eyes, tears soaking his shirt. And in the next moment, I burst into loud crying. When a person truly dies because of your actions, guilt can be like a mountain, crushing a person. Jason Shur's tone was hoarse. It's just some scratches. I was taken to the hospital. If you want to go, I can take you. No, my voice is hoarse. I want to stay with you. Okay. He and I returned to the car. Outside the window, the police are withdrawing wave after wave. Someone will take us to the hospital soon, because Song Yang has no relatives. I leaned on his shoulder, exhausted. Before coming, I had one last thing I didn't tell you. I suspect Song Yang was involved too. Jason Shur took a deep breath. Olivia, what if not? If he is innocent, would you choose him or me? It was only when he asked that question that I truly, finally, let out a sigh of relief. All along, Jason Shur has assumed that he is the one not being chosen. But 10 years later, Olivia Sang always chooses Jason Shur with conviction. I looked up and carefully looked at Jason Shur. Do you remember when Song Yang first debuted? We don't know each other yet. Back then, I had already broken up with Song Yang. If I had to say, my feelings for Song Yang are quite complicated. We endured the chaos of youth together, entered the harsh society, and compared to that, the amount of love was very little. I count on my fingers and tell Jason Shur, he started his career, acting, and his fame is getting bigger and bigger. By the time I marry you, We should have already broken up. It's been more than a year. I admit, I disliked you at first, just like disliking second uncle, disliking someone who enters my life without permission. Coincidentally, at that time, Song Yang was on his way to have dinner with an investor when he had a car accident, and the driver was one of your people. I consider you to be just like my second uncle, a ruthless and heartless person. I'm not disliking you because I like Song Yang. I don't like Song Yang. I just can't stand someone who ruins others' futures over a small disagreement. Jason gently clasped my hand. Sorry, it really is my fault. I didn't think it through. No, I said, hugging his arm. I've already said it's second uncle's problem. You're not at fault. Anyone who dares to scold you, I'll argue with them. He was silent for a moment and then said, Thank you. Thank you for what? For the first time. Someone defended me, and it was a defense for me. Hearing this, I felt a wave of guilt again. Jason's family is rarely mentioned in the industry. Indeed, there aren't many people protecting him. Jason looked at me seriously. Can you tell me, how did you start liking me? The night was very dark, but I could see the hope in his eyes. One time, you drank too much wine, came back, and kicked the scarf I knitted for the puppy, in the middle of the night, sitting cross-legged on the ground. I was figuring out how to knit a scarf for it. I told you to go to sleep, and you said the puppy had no scarf, and it would be cold in winter, so I think, someone who cares about whether the puppy is cold or not, maybe, wouldn't be so cruel as to hurt others. Actually, there's something I haven't told him. Jason mumbled in his sleep that night, and he said, Olivia, I am also very cold. I happened to hear it when I got up in the middle of the night to drink water. My heart softened a little. I think he's also very pitiful, lonely, and unloved. Jason listened with great interest. Does our family have a dog? 7 years from now, on my birthday, you gave me one. You said you were too busy and didn't come home often, so it kept me company. I happily counted on my fingers. Come to think of it, it should be which family's old dog by now. It hasn't been reincarnated yet. Our little dog is very smart. It learns everything quickly. I even suspect it didn't drink Meng Po's soup. As I was speaking, I suddenly froze. Jason was stunned. What's wrong? I dazedly held his hand and said, Song Yang, he's just like me, the same, on the rooftop. I turned my head, my brows furrowing tighter. When Song Yang finally jumped down, he told me, it's been many years since I last sang him happy birthday, but last year, I did celebrate his birthday. Jason squinted, instantly understanding. Are you saying that in your past life, you had several years? Yes. Blood was rushing to the top of his head, a feeling like pins and needles on his back. According to what he said, he waited many years for me to sing a birthday song. So this is the only explanation. Jason and I exchanged glances, both seeing confusion in each other's eyes. Go to the hospital. Half an hour later, the doctor told us that someone had taken Song Yang away. When asked again, he refused us on the grounds of not being able to disclose patient information. In this situation, it's hard to believe that Song Yang has nothing to do with that matter. On the way back, I kept thinking about one question. Do you think he deliberately jumped down just now? Jason was holding the steering wheel, his fingertips lightly tapping on the leather cover, and he said, generally speaking, in places with low floors, police will set up inflatable beds. If it were me, I would be 100% confident that jumping down wouldn't kill me. I looked at his profile thoughtfully. Oh, so what do you think his mindset might be? He hummed softly, to deceive your sympathy, just to make you lean towards him. This is really the first time in Jason's 2 lifetimes that he has said such jealous words to me. I pursed my lips and nodded seriously. You understand quite well, he dryly said. Men understand men best. I didn't point it out, but looked out the window at the passing scenery and fell into deep thought. Telling Jason 10 years in advance to beware of whom probably wouldn't make things worse. Thinking of the scene in a past life where he unhesitatingly rushed into the fire to hold me, my heart starts to ache again. How could I not be moved? Being kind to others will be seen. Aftering back and forth on the road for several hours, I arrived home late at night. Aunt Liu went back. The living room was not lit. And just as Jason was about to reach out, I pounced over and pushed him down onto the sofa. His long legs had no choice but to straddle on either side, supporting my weight. Jason's clothes were disheveled, and he said hoarsely, "What do you want to do, Jason?" I leaned close to his ear and whispered, I love you. His breathing instantly became chaotic, his Adam's apple bobbed, and he supported my waist to prevent me from falling off him. Go down. A command tone close to being flustered. I blinked in surprise. No way, you, don't say anything. He covered my eyes, his words cold and ruthless, and don't look. Suddenly everything went dark in front of my eyes. As my eyelids opened and closed, my eyelashes brushed against my warm palm. Who knew that I love you could be so powerful? It can make him so utterly flustered. I grinned. I love you, playful joke, like a feather, scratching into his heart, causing the blazing fire to spread continuously. I support myself on his chest, and can directly feel the accelerating heartbeat beneath the palm. Then I softened my tone, a shoo, I love you. The next moment, his lips pressed against mine. He was more assertive than ever, trapping me in the corner, unresistingly accepting his love. His hands, like they were caressing a treasure, brushed over my cheek, my neck, gently supporting. Infatuation and restlessness, not obedient, / he sighed. / aren't you hungry, / hungry, / I clung tightly to him like a koala, my hand slipping into his shirt, / I'm hungry, let's eat, / seeing he still wasn't moved, I decided to go all out, / hey. Have you thought of a nickname for the kid, / Jason Shah's eyes darkened little by little, and he carried me past the dining table, heading straight to the bedroom. A smell of roasted chicken legs caught my attention. I poked my head out and looked at the dining table, my eyes lighting up. Hey, wait a moment. Aunt Liu left me a chicken leg. Don't think about it. Jason Shah rejected me mercilessly for the first time. There's only one chance, and I get to decide now. I feel that Jason Shah has some negotiation skills. He's not just a little, he's practically a shrewd businessman. His voice whispers in the dark night, like a small boat in the waves. Fragments of kisses cover my fingertips, finally pressed into my heart. I am yours, I am addicted to beauty, humping softly, turning over to firmly pin this man down. Mine, all mine. Later, after taking a shower, my eyelids felt sticky. A pair of hands, taking advantage of hugging him, scrambled around. Seizing every opportunity, he is like a gentle big dog, as if he would never get angry. Olivia, I was extremely tired, my voice was all sticky. When we just got married, you promised to go to the movies with me, but the next day you had a stomach ache, cancelled, and went to the hospital. Was it to see him? For me, it was really a long time ago, I recalled, and it seems it has nothing to do with Song Yang. The day before, Jason Shah sent a small cake through someone. And I also ate a pack of pickled pepper chicken feet, which gave me gastroenteritis. I went to the hospital for an 4 drip, picked up the medicine, and then went home to lie down. But from Jason Shah's tone, it seemed a bit off. My sleepiness instantly disappeared without a trace, and I got up to sit. After a brief moment of shock, Jason Shah said, I'm sorry, don't apologize first, I'm not angry. I sat cross-legged and got up. I'm just curious, how did you think I went to find Song Yang? Usually, with his skills, he could easily find out my schedule, and of course, he would know that I was lying in the hospital hooked up to 4 fluids. But he didn't check. After a brief silence, Jason Shah honestly admitted, I can see Song Yang's moments. Doesn't he usually love posting on moments? Making eye contact, they both saw doubt in each other's eyes. Jason Shah took out his phone and handed it to me. I couldn't wait to open Song Yang's profile picture, the moment I saw his moment's content. My mind buzzed. August 9th. Today Olivia said she wants to celebrate my birthday. Thank you, my love. August 1st. I tasted the meal Olivia cooked herself. It still tastes the same as before. I was desperately crawling forward until half a year ago. That one. The movie is out, waiting for Olivia to come. It was the day I had gastroenteritis, and when I opened my phone, Song Yang's moments were empty. These contents are only visible to Jason Shah, however, in reality. I rarely had any interaction with him after getting married. At most, I would appear when the hospital called to collect fees or when the doctor needed to adjust the treatment plan. I truly treated him as an old friend, but he repeatedly harmed my loved ones behind my back. I felt a headache coming on. Do you really believe it? There's not even a single photo of me inside. Jason Shah lowered his eyes, staring at the empty moments on my phone, something in his eyes slowly lighting up. Olivia, I can't help but believe it. He repeatedly clicked open and then closed it. as if confirming something, or just an unconscious action after seeing the light. I'm afraid to find someone to check and get the news that you and he are really sitting in the cinema. If that's the case, I'd rather not know. I was both angry and heartbroken. You ask me just once. Halfway through speaking, suddenly stopped. Yeah, he didn't dare ask. Back then, I often spoke harshly to him. I'm afraid the response received won't be much better than what Jason Shah guesses himself. I'm sorry. I threw myself into Jason Shah's arms, my eyes welling up. Sorry, I won't lose my temper at you again. He chuckled softly and kissed my ear. No, I like you when you're angry. It's cute. It's just, don't say you don't want me anymore. That night, the last bit of distance between us also disappeared. I suspect Jason Shah has some masochistic tendencies. Not being scolded all day makes me feel uncomfortable. On a morning of the beginning of autumn, I exploded again. Jason Shah, are you trying to die at the company so I can give you a banner for loving your job and respecting your duties? On the phone, Jason Shah's sexy voice was covered with a thick layer of sand, slightly nasal, and he laughed. I can still hold on. Last night in the second half, he had a high fever and was burning up all over. I called the family doctor and got some antipyretic medicine, half coaxing, half forcing him to swallow it. Then I held a small basin and wiped his body. By the time dawn was approaching, the fever had broken. I wrote a light diet plan for Aunt Liu, so that Jason Shah could eat when he got up. Then I held him in my arms and he fell into a deep sleep. Who knows, as soon as I open my eyes, it's 10 o'clock. And people have gone to work, perhaps because of shadows from a past life. I pay extra attention to his safety. After a simple breakfast, I hurriedly took the porridge made by Aunt Liu and rushed to his company. When the secretary saw me, she stood up nervously. Mr. Shah is in the office. Not convenient for visitors. It's okay. I'll wait a moment. After speaking, he sat down on the sofa at the door and played with his phone. Gradually, I heard Jason Shah talking to someone. His tone was unprecedentedly cold and sharp. I gave you a chance, but you didn't seize it yourself. Mr. Shah, you're clearly deliberately making me make mistakes. Jason Shah chuckled softly. So what if I do? You're being unreasonable. I am a businessman, profit-oriented. I never argue with others. I was resting my chin on my hand, listening carefully, but the secretary was about to be scared to death. The door suddenly swung open, and a furious middle-aged man rushed out. As I was leaving, I unintentionally made eye contact with him, and I was stunned. Boss Fang, isn't he the one who stabbed me in my previous life? Has Jason Shah already started his actions? 10 years ahead of schedule. He truly is an action-oriented person. The secretary was sweating profusely, raising her voice. Mr. Shah, your wife has arrived. I snapped back to my senses and picked up the lunchbox to walk in. I didn't see the cold and ruthless man who holds the power over the workplace. Jason Shah sat by the window, his white shirt spotless, smiling gently at me. I'll be back at noon. I slammed the lunchbox down on his desk, sat down across from him, and said, about that just now, scared you? His voice was soft, and he smiled. Sorry, I'll watch my tone next time. It's not that. I scratched my head. This person, the one who stabbed me, is the one I told you about last time. Jason Shah's eyes were as cold as a layer of ice. Simply saying leave it to me, he then focused on eating his meal seriously. The timing was just right. The porridge was still warm. He truly has excellent manners. Even eating a meal is pleasing to the eye. Seeing me still staring at him, Jason Shah paused. Do you want to eat with me? No. I hesitantly leaned forward. Jason Shah stopped again, sighed. Do you want to buy a bag, or clothes? You can use the card I gave you, or wait until I finish work and go with you. I grit my teeth, my ears turning red. Could you, please speak to me in the same tone as before? What? I cover my face, almost curling up under the table. Please, I really fall for that. Jason Shah's face showed a brief blankness. I thought of a certain night again, impulsively saying to him, look at me with the same trashy eyes. Suddenly felt like sitting on pins and needles. Some teasing words really just slip out unintentionally. Jason Shah swallowed his food and suddenly laughed. I shyly kicked him. Don't laugh at me. Forget what I said. I won't forget. He stared at me. I can never refuse any of your requests. That day, the people from their company saw me rush out of the company. My face as red as a persimmon. After so many years of entanglement in past and present lives, it's only recently that I've felt the sensation of being in love. Jason Shah's social media feed has been taken over by me, posting failed kitchen creations every now and then, taking blurry couple photos on a whim, and pairing them with overly cheesy elementary school level captions. Jason Shah said tactfully, "Actually, I do have some friends," the implication being, it was indeed a bit embarrassing, but seeing me having a great time, he eventually accepted everyone's teasing. There are fixed comments underneath each circle of friends. "Old bachelor has fallen," "Showing off my wife again," "If your sister-in-law kidnaps you," "Blink, time flies, and it's already late autumn in the blink of an eye." Song Yang seems to have disappeared from my life. His phone number has been cancelled, cutting off all contact. Occasionally seeing scenes of high school students leaving school, I still think of the past, but my intuition tells me that everything will not end so simply. Jason Shah has become very busy, going out early and returning late. Sometimes, when I wait for him at home, I think of past lives. He is also like this, with endless things to do, and very little time to talk to me. "Madam, it's 10 o'clock, go to bed early." I sit cross-legged on the carpet, surrounded by newly bought things. I'll wait a little longer. Looking back, I haven't seen him in a week, and tonight I just suddenly want to wait for him. The weather is getting colder, so I rush to the mall to buy Jason Shah a set of winter clothes. A camel-colored plaid scarf, a wool coat, and matching, fluffy, slightly childish couple's gloves similar to my style. When I was putting things into the wardrobe, I suddenly heard a phone vibrating inside the coat. I took it out and saw it was an email. I took a photo and sent him a message, sarcastically, "Jason brother, how come some people still have phones that others don't know about?" He was already used to my occasional eccentric jokes and replied, "It's for work, I forgot to bring it, help me open it and take a look." I smiled as I opened the email and muttered, "Don't tell me it's a love letter from someone else, or I'll cause a fuss." The interface jumps to a medical report. I squinted and zoomed in to take a closer look. Song, Chenghui, skull fracture and intracranial hemorrhage. This person was hit by something, wasn't he? Oh, there's a death report below, work-related injury. How pitiful. Jason Shah listened and said, "Good. Put your phone away. I'll be home soon and buy you a small cake. Just now you said I could look around as I pleased." Stingy. He smiled and said, "There's nothing to see." The kitchen was still heating his meal. I put my phone back, then took out some wrapping paper, planning to wrap the new clothes as a gift to surprise him. My best friend UWN teased me on the phone. "You used to annoy the hell out of her." Olivia sang, "Have you changed your chip or what? Our brother Jason is the best." Was he blind before? Come on. When will you team up with me to open a studio? Do you know how hard it is to get a design draft? I hesitated for a moment. Maybe later. I can also send you drafts from home. Oh, just stay with your Jason brother. I admit, I just want to spend more time with him. If we had a second chance and nothing changed, we would eventually walk towards death together. That would really mean one less day lived. Jason Shah is rushing home. Only a small lamp was left for him in the living room, and the clay pot was still warm. I hug my legs and curl up in the corner of the sofa, holding my breath and focusing intently. Jason Shah softly called out, "Olivia." I didn't make a sound, crouched behind him, and suddenly pounced onto his shoulder. Meow. Jason Shah helplessly carried me on his back. "Hold on tight. Don't fall off. Aren't you afraid? I saw your shadow." I boredly rubbed against him. "Go to the bedroom. I have a gift for you." He carried me into the bedroom as instructed, where a giant gift box, wrapped in a crooked manner, was placed in the center. Here's your birthday gift. I didn't even make longevity noodles this year. I'm really not satisfied. All this money was earned through my hard work designing drafts." I slipped down from his back, like a treasure, and said, "Open it and take a look." Jason Shah lowered his eyes, looked for a long time, and said, "Olivia, thank you." "Hurry up." His hand rested on the gift box, hesitating for a long time. "There's something I want to discuss with you." "You say." He hesitated and finally said, "We maybe need to be apart for a while." I was stunned for a few seconds, thinking I hadn't woken up. When I finally realized, I slowly confirmed, word by word, "You want to divorce me." Jason Shah's eyes flickered with struggle. Just as he was about to speak, I suddenly stood up. "I understand. I'll go pack my things," Olivia sang. Jason Shah grabbed my arm. "Please listen to me carefully." "Okay." I was about to cry, turned my back to him, afraid of crying and embarrassing myself. "Just say it like that. Actually, I already know even if you don't say it, I hurt your feelings. You being with me is just for revenge. We shouldn't have called you a thief and a nuisance for snatching a girl when we got married. I also shouldn't have deliberately stood you up, making you wait outside the cinema for 2 hours. And I shouldn't have known you liked to be clean and secretly smeared jam on your white shirt. It's my own fault. The person behind suddenly fell silent. Where did you put the jam, the shirt, and the bed sheets? When did this happen? We haven't been married for long. I want to get revenge on you. Suddenly, the lights flipped around in front of me, and in the next second, I was lying on Jason Shah's lap. Slap, a crisp slap landed on my lower back, tingling and numb. Tears rolled down my eyes, pitifully crying. You said you wouldn't be abused before divorce. Help, I didn't even put in any effort, Jason Shah sneered. Olivia sang, are you immature or just naive? I struggled hard, unwilling to show weakness. Success teachings say to hit the opponent's sore spot directly. You just want to be clean, right? I want to dirty your sheets. Divorce, I want to do it again. Bam, another slap. My face is burning red. Jason Shah, this is humiliating me. Give me a proper pain. I'm afraid you'll be unable to handle it if it's too intense. He picked me up, using his hands and feet, restraining my struggles, with a stern face. All right, stop crying. Let me tell you something serious. You need to act in a play with me. What play? Song Chenghui is Song Yang's father. Jason Shah got straight to the point. The email you just saw mentioned that his father died in an accident at the construction site. That project, many years ago, was a collaboration between your uncle and my father. I suddenly remembered the day I went to the rooftop to find Song Yang. He stood there, the wind billowing his white shirt like a sail. I hold the ice cream and shout, Song Yang, what are you doing? He turned around, his clear and handsome face filled with despair. My family members have died. I have no family anymore. At that moment, I was shocked by his family tragedy. I carefully moved closer and handed him an ice pop. I also have no family. What do you think of me? Look, this is where they locked me in the girls' bathroom. My second uncle only scolds me for causing trouble for him and doesn't care about me. Song Yang looked down at my bruised arm, took an ice cream bar, jumped down from the edge of the stairs, and asked, what is your second uncle's name? Sang Ming. Song Yang slowly raised his eyes. San Ming. The San Ming from the San group, yes. He looked at my face with an unprecedented serious gaze and said, don't worry, I will treat you well in the future. I was immersed in my memories, and only years later did I suddenly realize the meaning behind that gaze. Perhaps, at the moment I learned the second uncle's name, Song Yang truly wanted to treat me as family. But my relationship with the Sang family can help him open the gap for revenge. He spent many years teaching me that family members will never betray each other. And when family members are hurt, they must return it 1,000-fold. But initially, his promise was woven with lies. Jason Shah said, Olivia, I can tell that Song Yang likes you. You said in a past life, you were harmed and killed, with a part of Song Yang's effort. Maybe, it's because you chose me. I don't dare to let you continue to be tied to me, to gamble. You have no dealings with the Sang family. Song Yang should be clear about that. So as long as you leave me, all future dangers will be borne by me alone. I slowly shook my head. Impossible. Be obedient. I won't listen. I stubbornly held his hand. I won't get a divorce. Do you know, in a past life, we even had children. I didn't get a chance to tell you. Jason Shah was stunned. Really? Well, maybe it's there now. He froze, staring straight at my stomach. Jason Shah, I can act with you, but no divorce. A few weeks later, the media revealed the news. Well-known entrepreneur Jason Shah is suspected of marital issues and has divorced his wife. On the same day, photos of me moving out of the villa were posted on a website by netizens. Best friend UWN watched me carrying bags into her apartment with delight. Rich man, you finally understand. Are you going to do business with me? I said coldly. Men are unreliable. Hey, just a few days ago he was Jason's brother. Tell me what happened. Seeing her excited gossip expression, I said gloomily, I smeared jam on his sheets. Is that all? That's all. We're divorced. What are your plans for the future? Live on your own. On the third day, I received a call from Uncle Olivia, come back tomorrow night. I was holding the phone in one hand and watering the lilies in the other, smiling and saying, oh, Uncle why did you suddenly think of me? Isn't this Have you divorced? The family can't watch you suffer outside. Since there's a banquet, let me help you find someone. You are quite informed about the news. Just tell me whether you're coming or not. Definitely on time." Hanging up the phone, my best friend looked at me worriedly. "Didn't you already cut ties with your parents? Their affairs have nothing to do with you. Breaking bones and connecting tendons. I won't join in. They always think of harming me." At night, I was wearing a black fitted mermaid dress and pushed open the door of the Sang family. The banquet hall was filled with clinking glasses and lively conversations. As soon as I entered, all eyes turned towards me, and people began whispering, "Is this the young lady of the Sang family? She has no presence. Hey, Mom and Dad don't care. Who do you expect to care? Want me to let your son try to climb the high branches of the Sang family and save 10 years of struggle? Get lost." I walk through the crowd, and around the corner, I hear a familiar voice. "Long time no see." Turning to look, Jason Schur is holding a wine glass, standing among the crowd, smiling and chatting. He has always been dazzling. I heard he got divorced, and many bosses are eager to get close to him, with female companions surrounding him layer after layer. "Are you very happy?" People noticed me, and the conversation suddenly quieted down. "Mr. Schur, why don't you reminisce about the old days?" Jason Schur lazily glanced at me, withdrew his gaze. "No need, we no longer have any relationship." I casually picked up the champagne from the servant and walked over. Passers-by automatically made way, afraid that the two of us would start a fight and be affected. Jason Schur's deep gaze fell on my moist lips, pausing briefly before trailing down along my neck. Taking in the graceful waistline, for a moment, he forgot to speak his lines. I couldn't wait any longer, so I poured champagne on his clothes and said with a smile, "Say hello, Director Schur wouldn't mind, right?" He took my empty glass, his fingertips reluctantly brushed against the back of my hand, and he smiled faintly. "I don't mind," I hummed and threw down my glass, turning around to leave, pushing open the door to the balcony to get some fresh air. To my surprise, someone was already on the balcony, still someone I know, Song Yang. He leaned against the railing, the burned face hidden in the dark, leaving only the clear and handsome half of his face. "Olivia, long time no see." My eyelashes fluttered slightly, and the hand hidden behind my back clenched tighter. "Long time no see." He chuckled softly. "Why are you so distant from me now?" I tried to ease my nervousness, took a deep breath. "Why do you think that? I haven't even asked you yet. Where have you been? You blocked me on your phone." "Huh, you've got some nerve." I, like before, jokingly pushed him. Suddenly, the light outside the door was blocked by someone. I glanced sideways, and Jason Schur was casually leaning by the window, looking over here with a faint expression. Song Yang was completely pushed into the darkness. "I'm going to have surgery." "Surgery?" He slightly leaned forward, and the faint light illuminated his face. "The burned skin has mostly been repaired." "Careful look, am I the same as before?" I stared at him blankly, then said after a while, "Yes, so, I take a step back, creating some distance, / I'm happy for you." "Really, / The doors suddenly swung open, and second uncle led a group of guests in. "Come, let me introduce everyone. My niece, Olivia Sang. The person next to her is a new actress signed by our company, Song Yang. They have known each other since they were very young, actually. I also want to help the two children find a lifelong partner at this banquet." The surroundings were bustling with people, and guests were all complimenting each other. They surrounded me and Song Yang so closely that I couldn't see through. I frowned. "Second uncle, I don't want to." Song Yang embraced my shoulders and said with a smile, "Second uncle, don't worry, I will take good care of Olivia in the future." I struggled a bit and found that he was very strong, which made me a little nervous. Fortunately, after a brief half-minute, he let go of me and skillfully exchanged pleasantries with the guests. My mood was complicated. After Song Yang finished his greetings, I asked, "When did you start meddling with my second uncle?" Song Yang lazily tugged at his collar. "Only with the approval of the Sang family can I marry you. I originally had other plans, but your divorce saved me a lot of trouble." I looked at his face and only felt that he was terrifyingly unfamiliar. Song Yang smiled. "What, don't recognize me? Do you think I'm not the same Song Yang in your heart?" In the past, I thought Song Yang's smile was bright and sunny, as if he was from the same world as me, but now it seems that I was wrong. He stepped forward, pushing me back step by step. In the end, my back was pressed against the glass door. Olivia sang, "I am just like this." He forced out a smile, somewhat ferocious in the dim light. "Originally, you and I shouldn't have let it go, but I love you. As long as you come back, we can be the same as before. You probably don't want to die with Jason Shah like in the previous life, right?" I trembled all over, instantly swept into a huge fear. He knew everything. Song Yang clearly noticed my pupils dilating in fear, along with my heavy breathing. He leaned over me, his hand landing on the door handle behind me, gently pressing it. The door opened, the lively and melodious violin music from the banquet drifted in. The light instantly became bright and cheerful. Song Yang smiled and mouthed to me, "Go back now, enjoy the dinner well, we'll meet another day." It wasn't until I stepped into the crowd that I realized I was sweating cold. The bright and dazzling light made me dizzy. I slowly leaned on the stairs. And according to my memory, I went up to the second floor. At the end of the corridor is the room I used to live in. I want to go in and rest. Almost as soon as I pushed the door open, I was covered by someone's hand over my mouth and dragged behind the door. The familiar scent wafted over. Jason Shah's deep voice poured into my ears, with a hint of alcohol smell. "Where did he touch you?" I lost my strength and collapsed into Jason Shah's arms. My whole body trembles lightly. Shoulder. A hot kiss suddenly landed on my shoulder, tossing and turning in a lingering embrace. Jason Shah said nothing, patiently and carefully kissing away the previous sensation, replacing it with his mark, finally finding my lips and nibbling little by little. The fear and tension finally faded under his comfort. I stand in the darkness, kissing him. After a long time, I blushed and asked softly, "Are you jealous?" "I drank a whole jar," Jason Shah said in a dull tone. "No one is allowed to touch you." "No one." After saying that, he was about to bite my shoulder. "Oh," I pushed him away, "we still have to go downstairs later." "What does it matter if there are teeth marks on my shoulder?" Jason Shah frowned, clearly unconvinced. I said, "They will then say, I just got divorced," and seamlessly connect to Song Yang. "Do you want to hear such gossip?" He was silent for a moment. "I don't want to." "Then control yourself a bit." I leaned my head against his chest, hearing his strong heartbeat, and said, "Song Yang has teamed up with my second uncle and has even guessed my situation, so he's on guard against your arrangements. Are you confident?" "Olivia, what would you do if the Sang family were severely affected because of this?" It turns out he was worried about this. I held Jason Shah's large hand and said, "My parents are arranged by business marriage, and they despise each other. When I was born, they left me with Uncle and moved overseas themselves. Uncle treats me as a tool to consolidate family power. If it weren't for you, I might have already married a 70-year-old old man. So, don't worry about me." I hooked his ring finger and saw him, at some point, put the wedding ring back on. Feeling warm inside, I said, "If the Sang family really falls apart, it's because my uncle did something immoral. He deserves it." The next few months, I returned to my life as a working person. After all, since becoming an adult, I haven't taken a penny from the Sang family. I've supported myself through hard work and studying, and now I have a skill to make a living. Besides being forcibly called back by second uncle to arrange a blind date with Song Yang, my life is still relatively peaceful. UWAN was extremely dissatisfied. "You've already cut ties. Why do you still have to obey?" I didn't explain. "Song Yang knows my situation. As long as I don't follow his wishes, he will incite second uncle to make things difficult for Jason Shah. We must stabilize before Jason Shah destroys both of them." Moreover, Song Yang handed over the choice of the date location to me. I chose the busy daytime area, which is relatively safe. UWN likes watching TV. Recently, Jason Shah has often appeared on financial channels. She criticizes every time she sees him. "You beast in human clothing." Olivia sang, "Your newlywed groom must be shown to me." She held the remote control, trembling like she had Parkinson's, pointing at Jason Shah's handsome face, breaking her voice. "Someone like this man is obviously no good. If I let you wear a wedding dress, I would make you eat shit upside down." I crawled out of a pile of design drafts and reluctantly said, "You don't speak in absolutes. You should leave yourself a way out." "Alright, I'll take you to eat together." Because UWN strongly objected, I had to secretly meet Jason Shah. Deep winter. Just after a heavy snowfall, I was wearing a thick sweater, holding a trash bag, sneaking out of the corridor. Jason Shah's car was parked downstairs, and it was very cold. But he was standing outside the car waiting for me. He was wearing the wool coat I bought for him and also took the scarf I bought. "Come here," he waved to me. I ran over, bouncing and jumping, happily threw myself into his arms, and made a shushing gesture to him. "Lower your voice. Let's go to the car. What's wrong? My best friend now thinks you're a complete scumbag." I pulled him into the car like a thief. The car lights go out, and darkness envelops the surroundings. Only the distant street lamp casts a patch of light and shadow on the white snow. I am wearing a thick down jacket, and after a while, Ji Yong takes out a pair of woolen gloves from his pocket. "Here you go." Jason Shah smiled and carefully took my gift. "Mrs. Shah, I have many pairs already. Don't you like it?" I reached out to take it. But he quickly snatched it away. "Thank you. I like it very much. Actually, I don't have much in common with him, but I just can't stop talking." I lazily leaned on his shoulder and rubbed against it. "My best friend said, if a second marriage dares to marry someone like you, she would. So what?" Those words are too vulgar. I didn't dare to say it, and brushed it off casually. "Anyway, something disgusting will happen." I sighed. I can already imagine how she would beat me up. Jason Shah chuckled and took my hand. "How about you find someone else?" "Jason Shah," I scolded him angrily, pushing him away. "What nonsense are you talking about?" He lowered his eyes and silently cupped my hand in his palm. His fingers are very long and perfect, large enough to hold both of my hands. "I want to stay with you." I was feeling gloomy, and my spirits instantly drooped. "I don't know what's been going on lately. I keep having nightmares." Hui dreamed that Jason Shah said I should live well on my own. When I woke up, my eyes were swollen from crying. "Olivia, I mean if," he paused. "One day, I suddenly break up with you." Before he could finish speaking, tears fell with a plop onto the back of his hand, interrupting him. A sigh came from above. Jason Shah held me and patted my head. "Just a metaphor. Even a metaphor is frightening," I said gloomily. "I've never received much love from my parents since I was a child, so I like whoever treats me well." Song Yang was like that at first too, but later, it was different. Loving someone makes you happy, but also sad. My feelings for you are more than that. I just want to make you happy. When you see others have something, I want to tell you, you should have it too. I care about what I say, afraid of making you unhappy. My joys and sorrows seem to be tied to you, so if you say we should part, I will be very hurt. Jason Shah kissed my hair and sighed. "Olivia, you love me. Can't we just not separate? You said you wouldn't refuse my request." He hummed and patted my back soothingly. "All right, we won't separate." The next morning, I came out of the bedroom with swollen eyes. Uwan has a piece of pork fillet in her mouth. "Did you cry last night?" "Yes, please give me an ice pop." She got up and went to the kitchen, took out an expired old ice pop from the bottom of the refrigerator, and pressed it against my eyelid. "Last night, I saw you get into a luxury car." I apply ice and remain silent. She rolls her eyes. "Fine. Going back to the ex, making the ex-husband humiliate you again, crying and crying, crying in bed every day. Look at your little bit of ambition. It's not like that. He's doing well. Stop." She pats her ear. "If sister hears you speaking nicely to him again, she'll throw you out." I gave up struggling, picked up the bowl, and took a sip of soy milk, puffing out her cheeks. She stared blankly at her best friend. Swallow, has your mind run away with a man? You won't even eat your rice. Fut." I spat it out unchanged, and before she could scold me, I had already run to the bathroom to dry heave. She was covered in soy milk, cursing as she brought a glass of water. Patting her back. "Oh my God, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me. I'll call an ambulance." I grabbed her. "Don't, hey, move away. Do you know how bad your face looks?" I held her tightly and said, "I'm pregnant. What a mess." She suddenly stopped talking and said, Damn." A few minutes later, she pulled me onto a taxi. Song Yang called. "Olivia, where are you?" I just remembered, I have a date with him today. "Sorry, I have urgent matters." "Where are you? Send me the address." Uwan knew I didn't like him, so he grabbed the phone and turned it off directly. "Big things, just hide them. Don't tell his dad." "Okay." Olivia sang. "You're really something. Turning off the phone is also safe." I sighed and said, "You keep it a secret for me. Don't tell your family." "I'm afraid the Sang family will find out." She was sulking and didn't want to talk to me. After a while, she asked, "Did you just give birth like that?" "Millimeter. All right, you gave birth, and I'll be the child's aunt." Women can hold up half the sky, so I can also raise a child. The radio news was playing in the taxi. We listened for a while and fell silent. Something happened to the Sang family. It was exposed this morning, involving a long time ago, a serious construction site safety accident. The Shah family, as the partner at the time, was also affected. My best friend held my hand, looking at me with concern. I shook my head. It's nothing. I didn't expect Jason Shah to act so quickly. The other scandals exposed about the Sang family were like straws that broke the camel's back, one after another. Once the last straw was added, the camel would collapse suddenly, recalling the past life. Second uncle, as the mastermind behind the scenes, instigated Boss Fang to cause that explosion. I had been worried for a long time, but gradually let go of some of it. This time, it was 10 years earlier. Jason Shah's business empire is at its peak. And second uncle's accumulated assets haven't grown to a frightening extent. Hopefully, such a thing won't happen again. There aren't many cars on the road today. The driver is driving steadily. Halfway through the trip, my eyelids are heavy, so I planned to rest briefly leaning on UWN. Call me when we arrive. Before I heard her answer, I fainted. After a while, a sound came from a distant place. Olivia sang, "Hurry up and open your eyes for me." The piercing sound of metal grinding woke me from my sleep. I only felt my limbs grow heavy. I slowly opened my eyes, revealing cement pipes and UWN leaning against them. The wind blew, carrying the pungent smell of industrial oil and the scent of sand and dirt. I nervously got up from the ground. UWN futilely kicked her legs. A creaking sound came from behind. "Emma, thank heavens. Come quickly, untie me." Realizing that I and she were in an unfamiliar place and that we had been tied up, I hurried over, squatted down, and saw the coarse hemp rope binding her. Familiar memories flooded in. I suddenly looked up, looked around, and cold sweat instantly started to flow. Isn't this the abandoned factory where I died prematurely in a previous life? The rope is tied with a dead knot, can't be untied, only worn down. The creaking sound of steel bars echoes throughout the entire building. UWN curses and complains. If they dare to kidnap me, I think they don't want to live anymore. The rope has been worn out all morning without becoming thin. She leaned wearily on the stone slab. Olivia sang, "Stop struggling. They tied me up, but not you. That means the target is my family. While no one is around, you should run quickly. Find someone to call the police." I forced a smile. "Sorry. This time I might have dragged you into trouble." "What do you mean?" Before the words even finished, Song Yang's voice suddenly came from behind. "Your best friend is really loud." UWN leaned forward to look. I hurriedly covered her eyes, then turned around and said to Song Yang, "She doesn't know anything. Let her go." UWN couldn't hold back anymore. "Damn it, I clearly told you. My surname is Yu, from the Yu family. If you dare to tie me up, my dad will find out and you'll be in big trouble." Song Yang's face darkened after hearing this. I said, "You heard it. There's no need to involve the Yu family in our affairs. Yuan's ancestors were in politics. Her brother is still a police officer. She's been fearless since she was a child. If something really happens to her, no one will survive." Song Yang handed me a craft knife. "Cut the rope. You are not allowed to move, otherwise, no one will be able to walk out alive." I hurriedly picked up and freed UWN from the ropes. "Don't look at anything. Stay at home." UWN frowned and asked softly, "There probably isn't any trick, right? If I go out, I will definitely call the police." "Calling the police is fine," I whispered, "but I just feel that we're at the end of the road. They no longer fear the police." Recalling the explosion from my previous life, I pushed my best friend away. "One person can go, and one person will go." She squeezed my shoulder. Olivia sang, "You must wait for me. I'll have the police come to rescue you." After saying that, she turned and hurried out without looking back. The surroundings were empty. Only me and Song Yang remained. I stood up. Meeting Song Yang's gloomy eyes. "What do you want to do? What are you doing at the hospital?" he asked back. "Stomach ache. Taking medicine." Song Yang curled his lips into a sarcastic smile. Olivia sang, "Don't take me for a fool." He grabbed me and dragged me to the window, pinching my chin to look down. "Let's see who has arrived." Downstairs, a man is being threatened with a gun by his second uncle. I recognized Jason Shah at a glance. My heart tightening, Song Yang chuckled softly. "When the police arrive, they'll see Jason Shah's body. Your second uncle won't escape either." My heartbeat was very fast. fingertips cold, trembling slightly. But the more I act like I care about him right now, the more dangerous it is. I simply closed my eyes. I divorced him. Whatever happens to him has nothing to do with me. Really. Song Yang looked down coldly and said, Uncle Sang. Break his leg. Bang. After a burst of gunfire, blood seeped from Jason Shah's thigh. He had one knee on the ground, looking up at me in Song Yang's direction. His face pale. Song Yang, I'm here. Let her go. Song Yang ignored and said to me, Olivia, are you happy? I was freezing all over and couldn't say a word. Uncle Sang, the second point. I suddenly grabbed his hand, trembling, and said, No, please. Song Yang's smile suddenly disappeared, and his fingers turned white from gripping too tightly. Jason Shah's eyes were dark and heavy, and sweat broke out on his forehead. Don't scare her. Song Yang's eyes were terrifyingly cold. He challenged Jason Shah, and the next moment he lifted my chin and kissed me. The cracked lips and fierce force made me feel sick, and I struggled violently involuntarily. He said, Do you want him to die? I froze in place. Song Yang pressed his lips tightly against mine, rubbing. Nausea rose from my stomach, and I pushed him away forcefully, kneeling on the ground and vomiting violently. Get to work, Song Yang coldly ordered. A gunshot suddenly rang out downstairs. My mind went blank, and I scrambled to the window. Jason Shah. The scene of him lying in a pool of blood did not appear in my imagination. It's second uncle. He was shot in the back and is lying on the ground. Jason Shah's left hand is bleeding steadily. Not far away, a team of armed police is rushing in, quickly surrounding the area tightly. Song Yang's face changed color, and he suddenly grabbed my collar and retreated behind the cement pillar on the second floor. Outside the window, the police were shouting at Song Yang. He didn't expect the police to arrive so quickly. Song Yang was pinching me, hiding in a blind spot where snipers couldn't see, and shouted, I have explosives in my hand. And I want Jason Shah to come in and see me, otherwise, I will take her to die together. I opened my mouth and gasped heavily, feeling blackness in front of my eyes. Song Yang, stay calm. I'm very calm. In your past life, you were willing to die with Jason Shah. So, why can't I? I desperately slapped his hand. I don't want to. Song Yang's tone grew more and more agitated. I could have saved everything. But why do you also want to come back? Give me back the original Olivia Sang. I futilely reached out my hand. The light before my eyes was dimming. Song Yang, a familiar, deep voice came from a few steps away. I'm here. Let her go. The pressure around my neck suddenly disappeared. I bent over, coughing violently, with a layer of water fogging my eyes. Desperately reaching out my hand to Jason Shah, the bloodstains on his leg had dried, and his hand was wrapped in a bandage, looking more battered than in the previous life. From the moment he stepped onto the second floor, his eyes had been fixed on me, as if afraid I might have an accident. Song Yang pulled me back a few steps, drew a dagger and pressed it against my neck. Jason Shah, this time, let's play something different. He pointed to a leather jacket not far away and said to Jason Shah, put it on. That piece of clothing is all too familiar to me. No, I can't wear it. I struggled violently, breaking the sound for the first time. No, Song Yang laughed excitedly as if he had gone crazy. Olivia. In a past life Jason Shah dared to die with you. How much do you love him? No, I desperately scratched at Song Yang's hand back. He pinched me and sneered. Do you think he can beat me? No matter how well he protects you, what's the use? If you don't come out, I can still open the door and come in. Tie you up. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Today, if he doesn't die, then you do. Jason Shah didn't hear our whispering. Keep your knife away from her. I'll go. Jason Shah. You go ahead, I cried hoarsely. Please. Jason Shah seemed not to hear, staring at the blood beads pierced by the tip of the knife, quickly putting on his clothes. Beep. Countdown started. I closed my eyes in despair. Song Yang suddenly pushed me forward. Olivia Sang. Choose one. I stood between the two of them, crying as I took a step towards Jason Shah, and he stepped back half a step. Olivia, don't come over, Jason Shah solemnly warned. There's a bomb. I stand in place. Not daring to take another step. I'm not afraid of death. But in front of him right now, choosing Jason Shah is no different from provoking Song Yang's emotions. It might even trigger a bomb explosion in advance. Olivia Sang, admit it, you only love yourself. You're as selfish and unfeeling as your second uncle, Song Yang sneered and said coldly beside him. Jason Shah stepped back to the window, looked at me, and then spoke. Song Yang, I'm sorry about your father. You're not worthy to mention my father. Song Yang, who was originally watching the fun, suddenly became angry and took half a step forward. Are you a bunch of rich kids born with a golden spoon in your mouth? Do you have any sincerity? However, your father did indeed operate illegally back then and didn't wear a safety helmet. We have also provided appropriate compensation. Shut up. Jason Shah coldly smirked with a hint of sarcasm. You're just a useless person. I am trembling all over. This world has gone crazy. Every word Jason Shah says hits Song Yang's sore spot. Does he want to die? Song Yang didn't know where he pulled out a lighter from, dropped it on the ground, and instantly a blazing fire erupted. The smell of machine oil lingering in the air was actually something Song Yang had poured earlier. It's you all who ruined my life. Song Yang's eyes were bloodshot as he walked toward me. His face, which hadn't been fully repaired, now looked extremely terrifying in the flames. Olivia sang, why didn't you choose me? If you had told me earlier that you didn't like disfigurement, I wouldn't have been so harsh on myself in the first place. A bucket of cold water poured over my head. It was really him. You're crazy. Yeah, if I didn't do that. How could I use your guilt to find out Jason Shah's news? Song Yang lay dormant for many years, finally tearing off that gentle facade to reveal a paranoid and crazy side. His laughter, like a broken bellows, grating and unpleasant. Olivia, if you had chosen me, it wouldn't have ended like this. Now that it has come to this, you can only blame yourself. Let's go to hell together. He took out a remote control. I didn't want to think about it, turned around and pounced on Jason Shah, holding him tightly. Olivia sang. Jason Shah shouted angrily, and in the next moment, bang, accompanied by the crisp sound of shattered glass. I couldn't hear anything. Buzzing, the sharp ringing in my ears is like a needle, constantly in my brain. In front of me is Jason Shah's pallid face, and he is saying something to me. I feel as if I have been shattered into pieces. My whole body is numb, and I have no strength. But being with him in death, I am not afraid at all. Not afraid. Why am I crying? Deafness is only a brief moment. The next second, the overwhelming shouts like an atomic bomb suddenly blast into the ears. Suspect has been shot, body found at second floor of the abandoned factory. A squad reports that the explosive device is intact and the hostages are confirmed safe. No other suspicious explosives were found at the scene. The fire is fierce. Notify the relevant personnel to quickly evacuate with the hostages. I was held up by someone, and when I left, I looked back and saw Song Yang with his back to me, lying on the ground. He is dead. A hand covers my eyes. The cold air dispersed the smell of smoke in my nostrils. The sound of sirens rose and fell. Red and blue lights intertwined, reflecting the setting sun. My legs went weak, and I knelt in the snow, trembling all over. The sound of UWN scolding and cursing at this moment sounds like a heavenly melody. Damn it, it's the 21st century rule of law society. We've been cracking down on vice and black society for who knows how many waves, and you're still playing with explosives. A few lawless rebels, all locked up, sentenced to life imprisonment or death, shot to death without even recognizing your mother. Bro, they've been caught. Don't let them go. Alright, go check out Olivia sang. The rest of the work is up to us. UWN immediately noticed me kneeling in the snow and shouted. Olivia sang. Get up, you have a child now. Don't crawl around everywhere. Jason Shah, who was cooperating with the police to defuse the bomb nearby, suddenly stiffened and turned his head to stare at me. Before UWN could walk over, he took off his leather jacket, without saying a word, and walked into the car with a blank expression, carrying someone who was still talking to her best friend. Hey, who are you? Why aren't you greeting me? Bang, the sound of the car door. He shoved me into the back seat, then sat in himself, gloomily staring at me. I suddenly felt a bit scared and shrank into the corner. Don't do that. I'm scared, knowing you're scared, yet still rushing over. Do you think this is a game of lying down and playing? After a brief silence, he suddenly started scolding loudly. Jason Shah has never spoken to me in such a stern tone before. And I immediately started crying. The bomb is on me. He was furious, veins bulging on his forehead. What if Song Yang presses it down? What should I do? Seeing him about to speak, I closed my eyes and collapsed into his embrace. Oh no, I fainted from fright. Jason Shah choked, took a deep breath, and the veins on his forehead bulged and jumped. he suddenly hugged me tightly, and at that moment, I realized that his hands were actually trembling. Sorry, I was in a bad mood just now. He messed up my hair, rubbing against me, trying to suppress his tone. I originally was planning to jump out of the window, so even if the sniper missed or there was an explosion, you wouldn't be hurt. But why did you rush over and hug me? I've never seen you have that much strength before. I didn't think that much. When I watch TV before, if there's a bomb, I just lie down. I can't exactly hug Song Yang. Jason Shi was momentarily speechless, not knowing what to say. Luckily, we are all still alive. Are your wounds all bandaged? I asked. Millimeter, I don't believe it. Let me see. Olivia, he said with a mix of laughter and tears. At the thigh root, I quietly pulled down his pants. We've been married for so long. Why are you shy? Yuan's voice muffled through the glass. Yes. I suspect my friend is being abused at home. Her husband kidnapped her. The friend you know at the Women's Federation. Right. As she spoke, she suddenly pulled open the car door. The light pours in. I knelt on both sides of Jason Shi's thighs, hands on his belt, halfway unfastened. UWN held up the phone, looked at us with a blank expression for 3 seconds, then suddenly closed the door. By the way, the dog was abused. Do you care? Not calling the Women's Federation anymore. Calling the Animal Protection Association. When I was remarrying with Jason Shi, UWN was sitting at the main table. She didn't seem to eat many dishes. During the toast, Jason Shi politely said, Olivia has always mentioned you before. She said that if it's a second marriage with me, something bad might happen. Staring at her with an inquisitive gaze, he recalled her bold words at the time. If it's a second marriage with him, I would eat shit upside down. She looked at me, and I looked at her. Silence between us. I was just mentioning it casually. Who knew Jason Shi would have such a good memory? UWN smiled, raised her glass. It's all in the past now. I'll make a toast. Wishing you both 100 years of harmony. Jason Shi smiled slightly and said, Thank you. After toasting, I followed closely behind Jason Shi, muttering, It's all in the past. Why are you bringing it up? He smiled and said, I'm just curious, really curious. I hesitated for a long time, then suddenly grinned. Come over here, I want to tell you something secretly. I whispered to him softly. Jason Shi raised his eyebrows. A hint of a smile appearing between his brows and eyes. I laughed so hard my stomach hurt. What if she really did that and then dragged me to eat with her? What should I do, Mr. Shi? Do you still want your face? Ha ha ha. My cheerful laughter echoed throughout the entire hall. Jason Shi just looked at me like that, with a gentle gaze that could squeeze water out. The wedding banquet is over. Guests can explore the resort by the sea on their own. In the evening, I took off my wedding dress, put on loose clothes, and wore a sun hat with a frayed edge. Jason Shi was holding my hand, and I was bouncing and skipping on the beach. Before, you always said you would come to the beach with me, but you never did. Before, oh, you mean 38-year-old you, I blurted out. Jason Shi frowned. A bit old. Not at all old, I said with a nostalgic tone, munching on my words. You're 38, and you're still handsome, a bit more silent and reserved than now, hard to resist being flirted with. At 38, Jason Shi has become more composed, and it's also enough to make people go crazy with infatuation. Jason Shi looked thoughtful, and the remaining process, talking to me, was a bit absent-minded. When night fell, I had just entered the bedroom when I was detained. A dangerous aura suddenly struck from behind, and the hotness in my chest made me shiver. Click. I was locked up. Jason Shi's cold voice was tinged with desire. Does that old man understand you? I was stunned and suddenly realized what was wrong with him today. He got jealous. I chuckled. Hey, you. Jason Shi pinched my chin, looking into the mirror, his eyes like hooks. Can't resist teasing. He chuckled. That's because he's not capable. Why, you shouldn't say that. Are you still defending him? This sound is obviously the vinegar jar being knocked over. No, it's not, I said tearfully. When you think of this sentence 10 years from now, will you still want to prove that you're capable? Jason Shi paused, then said seriously, in principle, that's correct. You two are competing. Why am I the one suffering? He turned a deaf ear, looking at me in the mirror with a blank expression. I really want that old man to see. I shamefully cover my face. Stop talking. Jason Shi kisses me and whispers in a low voice. Olivia, you are mine. That night was perhaps the highest emotional intelligence moment of my life. You have to admit that he is more impressive than a 38-year-old man, and also need to be repeatedly confirmed by him that at 38, he is still very impressive. It's late at night. The moonlight passes through the window screen and falls on his side face. Jason Shur has already fallen asleep. I gently touched his face, feeling warm inside. Once, I countless times held hands with 38-year-old Jason Shur, sighing, I wish we had gotten together earlier, a whole 10 years, and we became two strangers in pain. During these 10 years, I think I must have also had feelings. In the dead of night when he quietly covered me with a blanket, for a moment, I wanted to hold him tight and say, let's make up. But Song Yang's accident had long become a thorn in my heart, those stirrings that I didn't even want to admit, every time they struck. The thorn would painfully pierce my heart, reminding me, Jason Shur has harmed my family, perhaps because I've been suppressed for so long. When the misunderstanding is cleared up, love gushes out, allowing me to experience a brief yet romantic love. I like him even longer than I thought I did. Olivia, why are you awake? Jason Shur's voice still carried a huskiness from not being fully awake. I hold his face in my hands, lean in, and give a very light kiss on his lips. I love you. Under the palm of my hand, Jason Shur's heart starts pounding wildly again. This man still can't help but tease. I love you too. He grabbed my fleeing lips, taking control, deepening the kiss. I was overwhelmed by his sudden enthusiasm. Midsummer evening, the setting sun outside the window looks blood red. Moon. I just had a dream earlier. Jason Shur opened his eyes, with some unclear emotions hidden in his gaze, like an impending black storm about to collapse. I dreamed of our past lives. I hold my breath. Really? He tucks away my messy hair, as if examining a treasure. Olivia sang, I am glad we still have a chance to start over. The night is still long, the moonlight shy, and the wind lingering. Warm fragrance drifts, and the blowing window screen hits the wind chime at the corner of the house. It is the sound of heartbeat rising and falling. I transform into a gentle sea, embracing the moon, softly whispering, when did you start liking me? Shall we get married? The moon said, no, I like you, for a very long time.